Good evening. It is March 7th, 2024, and I'd like to welcome you all to the meeting of the South Brunswick Board of Education and to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All righty. Next is a statement of advance notice. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10-4-6, also known as the Sunshine Law, was enacted to ensure Star Ledger. It is also posted on the district website. Mr. Pawlowski, roll call, please.
Ms. Julie Ferrara. Ms. Laura Hernandez.
Here.
Ms. Deepa Karthik. Ms. Alicia Khan.
Here.
Mr. Raja Krishnan. Mr. Mike Mitchell.
Present.
Mr. Barry Nathanson.
Here.
Dr. Smita Raj.
Here.
Mrs. Lisa Rogers.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Pawlowski. Next on the agenda is the approval of agenda. May I have a motion and a second to approve tonight's meeting with approval to remove the executive session?
So moved.
Mr. Mitchell, move.
I'll second.
Mrs. Hernandez, second. All in favor?
Aye.
I pass. Excuse me. Sorry. The next order of business is board minutes. Board Secretary, Mr. Pawlowski's draft of the minutes from the February 22nd, 2024 meeting is posted on the board portal. Are there any corrections to the minutes as distributed? No, then the minutes stand as written and are approved. Excuse me. Next order of business is the student representative, Defan Lee. Unfortunately, Defan is unable to attend, so we will move on to the report of the president. That would be myself. Okay. I never know how to do
Lisa
that.
Rogers.
What do I say? Okay. So first and foremost, last night, the Middlesex County School Board's meeting, there was a meeting, and many of the districts in Middlesex County, representatives from the boards, various boards came and attended, and Senator Vin Gopal was actually present. He actually discussed the various bills both the Senate and the Assembly are looking at, and this is in regard to the budget. Both Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Nathanson were present, and the board has received an email with a video recording of that, so I highly recommend that you take a moment to look at that. The March edition of the District Weekly Newsletter was distributed today and included information regarding budget season, including links to Governor Murphy's address, an explanation of how districts develop the budget, and the upcoming public Q&A forums that will be held on March 14th and March 20th for the public. Please keep an eye out for that. Finally, budget season is upon us, this month we are highlighting a few important resources in that link, including the responsibilities of board members and district administration. All that information can also be found on the district website, and I recommend that the public review that information as we will be moving forward with the budget discussion. Okay, moving on. The report of the superintendent, Mr. Federer.
Well, welcome, everyone. Congratulations. We have 35 of our National Merit Commended students here, 61 total in the district, and they have brought some staff, they have parents, and just fantastic. It's a great presentation happening shortly. So again, welcome and thanks for coming out tonight. Quick note for the board and anyone who watches the board meetings, we have to move the board meeting date from May 9th to May 7th. We have informed the board, but reminding you now, the reason for that move is to stay in line with the state's budget calendar. They made changes, which causes us to make our change. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you note that it's not on a Thursday. It's May 7th. Another important note, glad we have people in the audience tonight. Tomorrow is the deadline to nominate educators and education support persons of the year. We sent all this home, but submissions are due by 4 p.m. tomorrow, and please take the time, honor that special person in the district. It means a lot to them to even just be, recognized in that way. It's a great thing. Some information board so you know, and our community will know. So we know that we've been talking about the new development behind 4 Executive Drive. There are 1,700 units scheduled to go in. We have our first registrant from the community. So it's interesting, it's not a new family, it's a family that lives in South Brunswick already, but is moving to those, and they will be, so they're already in our schools, but that is our first family registering from the new development. We did anticipate March being a start date, and that start date is actually this month, and we expect this now to be happening more regularly over the next year or 2 years as we get more students from that development. You heard President mention the budget forums. We have a whole bunch of budget forums. We have staff budget forums. We also have for the community, specifically Thursday, March 14th at 7 here, and we'll do the other one at Constable School on March 20th at 7. And we do encourage people to come out. This is going to be a very different type of budget year. I'm not going to get into the budget right now, but we are currently looking at a net hole of over $6 million. That's what we're looking at right now. And to get to minus $6 million is not easy. And we're going to be just talking with our community and our staff about how that's working and thoughts and ideas and all that budget stuff. So that's really important that the community understands, the staff understands what's going on and how we're going to work through that and get through it. My last part today is really a little bit of a preschool update. I'm going to ask Suzanne Luckborn, if you don't mind, Suzanne, would you give a report on where we are with preschool?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Fetter. So exciting times in South Brunswick. As you do know, we received our eligibility to expand our preschool for the 24-25 school year, and I wanted to provide some updates here. First, I'd like to thank Principal Plummer. Mrs. Plummer has been helping me. She is the preschool principal, and we've had numerous hands behind the scenes working. So for the 23-24 school year, which we are currently living, we have 250 students enrolled in our program, a mix of 3- and 4-year-old students equaling 19 class sections. For the 24-25 school year, we have been approved to add 90 additional seats, bringing our total to 340 students, 25 classes. So I wanted to share a few highlights to get the word out, and those of you that are listening will have some accurate information that certainly you can share with neighbors and friends here in the community. First and foremost, we had a tremendous response to our preschool interest form, which went live between November and December. We had more than 400 applicants put their names in for those limited precious seats. Many people have asked us about our process, so I'm going to share a little bit about that process this evening and also answer some of our FAQs, frequently asked questions, that have been coming in since we released notification of who was selected for our lottery. One of the most frequently asked is, why is our timeline so much earlier this year than it was in the previous year? And that's number one, because we know a little bit more than we knew in our first 2 years or year and a half of implementation. And we know that it takes time to maximize those seats, fill them all, plan for the placement, and make sure that we're meeting transportation deadlines so that transportation has notice to be able to plan for those students. So we recruited, as I said, in November and December. We did extend that a little bit to give everybody an opportunity to make sure they submitted their interest. We advertised through social media platforms, the Route 1 billboard. We had yard signs out in neighborhoods. We had people on foot delivering flyers about our program, and we also did a mailer to some of our communities to advertise the program. So I think it's important to understand that once a 3-year-old enters into our program, that student automatically will roll over into a 4-year-old seat. So many of the public were disappointed to find out that we didn't have as many 4-year-old seats, but we had to save seats for those 3-year-olds who were moving forward. We were able to accept some 4-year-olds. As you heard me say, we had some growth of that 90 additional seats. So to share a little bit more, from that interest form, we were able to identify some priority needs of students, and that is part of the mission of the preschool expansion, is opening opportunity and access. So with some of the questions on our interest form, we were able to use multiple factors to identify some of our neediest students within the community. Some seats were automatically reserved for those students. We considered those priority seats, and you can read about that on our website. For example, those were some of our multi-language learners, some of our students that had some special needs, maybe were enrolled in early intervention, or maybe needed some economic support. We must also hold seats in our preschool program for students who turn 3 and 4 years old during that calendar year who may be eligible for special education services. We need to have a spot if a 3-year-old student is evaluated by one of our child study teams and needs a placement. So we hold some seats for that. You know, interesting thing about the interest form, even though families received a notification back that their form had been accepted, people applied multiple times. Sometimes 3 and 4 times. Sometimes same child, same date of birth, same address, using 2 different parents to put in an entry. So I want to assure the public that that was hand-mined, and all of those that put in multiple times did not get an advantage in the lottery. We deleted all of those duplicates, probably upwards of 75 duplicates, and I know because I did that work. So once we did that, we also found some non-residents, people not living here in South Brunswick, and I know that this community trusts us with making sure that the residents in this lottery are living here indeed. So we did weed out a few families, and Ms. Adignan, our transportation director, really helped us track some of those down as well. So then the fidelity to the process began at that point. Once we had those lists, we had identified a separate list of 3-year-olds and a separate list of 4-year-olds. We masked all identifiable characteristics, and then we did a system generated using a random organizer of numbers, and grabbed those numbers for 3-year-olds, lined them up, and then we went and repeated that process for our 4-year-olds, and then we went sequentially down that list. I will share that that was done in the presence of our board president, Ms. Rogers. She was in attendance, I was in attendance, Ms. Plummer was in attendance, and my assistant was in attendance during that process. So then becomes the work where you sit and you look at all of those numbers and the number of seats, and you start filling the seats sequentially. So once we hit our number of what we have to stop. We notify those families. Some of those families may decline, but we need to give them that opportunity to then come produce their residency and register. We know from our experience that that does tend to open additional seats as we start to move, which is why we moved that timeline up. We want all of those seats filled for September 1. In doing so, you have excess, right? If I have 50 seats for our 4-year-olds and we had 200 4-year-old families put their names in, 150 unfortunately don't have a seat right now. So what we found in our last year of doing this is families really needed to know or wanted to know, what is my number? How, am I close? Am I at the end of that list? Like, do I really need to seriously find alternate care? So we took the remaining students on that, what we call a wait list. We divided it into groups so that it was manageable. And we would then identify a group 1, a group 2, a group 3, a group 4. Within those groups, we are still following the exact lottery sequence. It was just a way to manage it and alert families that, group 1, there's promise. Group 4, maybe not so much. So that's kind of how we structured that wait list and the group process. So that is where we're at present day. There's a lot of work that's still happening. We now need to get all of those families in with appointments with central registration and register them. We've been directing all of our families back to the FAQ document, which is found on our preschool website. It is maintained as families send questions to us, or our ECAC, which is our Early Childhood Advisory Council. These are made of parents and community members. If they're hearing questions, they share them with us, and we update that document. So best advice I have for anybody that's curious about preschool is to continue to check that document. It is updated, and many of the things I just shared about the lottery process can be found there. I also want to share that you heard me say 25 sections. We currently don't have 25 classrooms for our preschool students. So 4 of those classrooms, we are proud to partner with the Lightbridge Academy on Wynwood Drive here in South Brunswick. So we are partnering with one of the local child's care facilities. Hopefully, as we expand our program, we can partner with others here in town because we know that there are many. Also, we think it's important to share with you that we are going to host an accepted students webinar at a later date, probably in a month or 2. And the purpose of that webinar will be to share information about our placement process. Students are just registering. There is no identification of their school, and certainly not teacher at this early point in our process. So at that accepted students webinar, we will talk about our placement process. We will talk a little bit about our program, and we will talk about some important dates for the families as they onboard and begin to prepare their 3 or 4-year-old to be a part of our program. So if you are one of those accepted students, watch for the webinar details. You will receive that via email. And I also want to share for everybody that April is the month of the young child. And so at the April 25th Board of Education meeting, Ms. Plummer will be here to present an information session about our current preschool program. So you can get to hear more details about what's currently happening in our preschool. But once again, I would encourage anybody who's curious to really look at that website. That FAQ has a lot of resources. And certainly there is an email address, preschool@sbschools.org, that you can send questions to if you have questions about our program. So Mr. Fetter, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I hope this provides some accurate information for everybody curious about our preschool.
Thank you so much, Ms. Luckborn. Does the board members have any questions for Mr. Fetter or Ms. Luckborn? Ms. Karthik?
I have 2 quick questions.
Closer,
Mrs.
please.
Can you hear me? I have 2 quick questions. For the grouping for the preschool, which is on the wait list, are you following the same criteria for, for the group 1, group 2, group 3 that you said? Just wanted a clarification on that.
Yes, it was just a way for us to manage the volume of students. So for group 1, if you were the next number, say you're 51, we're going to you next, 52, 53, and so on. Wherever group 2 begins, if we've exhausted group 1, we'll go in sequential order for group 2.
And my next question is, if a 3-year-old who has applied, who's on a wait list, next year when the 3-year-old becomes 4-year-old, does the child go on a wait list, or do they have to reapply again for the program?
That's a great question. Thanks, Deepa. They will be put back into the process where they have to show their interest. Remember, we have fewer 4-year-old seats because those 3-year-olds will advance, but they will have the same opportunity to show their interest again.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Ms. Hernandez?
So you said that you already chose the students that are starting in September, were full. And then you said there's going to be 90 more seats. When does that happen?
So the 90 seats is actually already included.
Okay.
So we've accounted for those 90.
Okay.
Anyone else? Dr. Raj?
There's an expansion, right? Preschool expansion. So that means we got more money from the state for the expansion, right? That is safe to assume.
Yes, that's correct. We were approved for 90 additional seats to expand our program, which
And-
equals 6 more classes.
Okay. And the other thing is transportation is also covered for all the additional students that will be coming up.
Transportation for our preschool students is included in our local. You are only allowed to use the preschool aid for those that have expanded, but yes, for the growth, the aid from the state covers that, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I just have one quick question. Can you clarify, Ms. Suzanne Luckborn, that the Lightbridge Academy will be following the same curriculum?
That's another great question. The Lightbridge Academy is a partner with us. They will be following our curriculum. They will be following our school year calendar. They will be working with our local teachers and supervisors when it comes to professional development. They will be an extension of us, housed in another location.
Ms. Hernandez?
I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
just wanted clarification. So the Lightbridge Academy, is that start in September with the kids you've already chosen? Okay.
Yes, that will start with the students that have been chosen. So out of those students, that's part of that information session. We're going to share with the families some of the options that exist, the benefits of partnering with that Lightbridge Center. Another reason Lightbridge was one of our front runners was that they already have preschool expansion, that particular owner, in other locations.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Feder, any other update? Nope. Good, thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Our next order of business is a recognition, which will be presented by Mr. Peter Varela, the South Brunswick High School principal, and this is part one of the 2024 National Merit Commended Students, Scholars, and Honored Educators.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's board meeting is our second opportunity to honor students for their stellar performance on the I would also like to thank Ms. Ramona Baker and Mrs. Marianne Murphy for their assistance tonight. So at this time, I'd like to ask the first row to please line up. As we start our program, I thought I'd share some of the colleges and universities that our commended students applied to for admission, as well as some of the schools they've been accepted to so far. Okay, our first honoree tonight could not be with us, but I'd still like to recognize him. I'd like to recognize Bidit Acharya. This upcoming fall, he plans on majoring in computer science. Tonight, he would be honoring William Hackmeister, a member of the high school math department. And it looks like our next student could not be with us as well. I'd like to recognize Jairam Ananda Krishnan. This upcoming fall, he plans on majoring in mathematics. Tonight, he would be honoring George Miller, a member of the high school math department. All right, our next honoree is here. Come on up. Let me recognize Bhavna Bangalore. This upcoming fall, she plans on majoring in biochemistry. Tonight, she will be honoring Holly Studzinski, a member of the high school science department. You can give it to her, Bhavna. Our next honoree tonight is Siddharth Banigunlapati. Come on up. This upcoming fall, he plans on majoring in mathematics or quantitative finance. Tonight, he would be honoring Mr. Mark Babbage, a member of the high school social studies department who could not be with us tonight. Our next honoree is Vivon Boley. Plans on majoring in computer science. Tonight he's honoring Ms. Tara Lynn Berniston, a member of the high school mathematics department. Our next honoree is Manya Chug. This upcoming fall, she plans on majoring in computer science. Tonight, she's honoring Alexandria Robles, a member of the high school math department. Okay, our next honoree is Shreya Dingra. This upcoming fall, she will be majoring in psychology and data science. Tonight, she's honoring Linda Heffenträger, a member of the Crossroads South Music Department. All right, our next honoree is Catherine Finlayson. This upcoming fall, she'll be majoring in computer science. Tonight, she's honoring Anastasia Marcella, a member of the high school guidance department. Okay, our next honoree is Sean Georgie. This upcoming fall, he will be majoring in computer science. Tonight, he is honoring Carol Romero, a member of the high school math department. Our next honoree is Murthy Nayanaraja. This upcoming fall, he will be majoring in neuroscience. He's honoring Hannah Motley, a member of the high school science department who could not be with us tonight. Our next honoree is Ravindu Gunasekara. This upcoming fall, he will be majoring in biology and pre-med. Tonight, he is honoring Ryan Fisher, a member of the high school social studies department. Our next honoree is Akshat Gupta. Unfortunately, he could not be with us tonight, but he will be majoring in business management. Tonight, he will be honoring Robert Saldino, a member of Crossroads South Science Department. Our next honoree is Shreya Iyer. This upcoming fall, she'll be majoring in computer engineering. Tonight, she is honoring Mark Lalamia, a member of the high school music department. Our next honoree is Avani Kudlaskar. This upcoming fall, she'll be majoring in economics. Tonight, she's honoring Elizabeth Haston, a member of the high school math department. Our next honoree is Shrivasta Karanam. Unfortunately, he could not make it tonight, but he would be majoring in biochemistry and honoring Christopher Hines, a member of the high school social studies department. Our next honoree is Siddharth Kasarla. Unfortunately, he could not be with us tonight. This upcoming fall, he will be majoring in economics, and tonight he would be honoring Alacia Hicks, a member of the high school world language department. Okay. Our next honoree is Aryan Kushup. This upcoming fall, he will be majoring in aerospace engineering. Tonight, he's honoring Kenneth Sadowski, a member of the high school science department. Our next honoree is Gurnur Kaur. This upcoming fall, she will be majoring in biology and medicine. Tonight, she will be honoring Christopher Haver, a member of the high school math department who could not be with us tonight. Our next honoree is Ishani Kurishkar. This upcoming fall, she'll be majoring in biology. Tonight, she's honoring Crystal Burnett, a member of the high school science department and chairperson. Our next honoree could not be with us tonight, but I would still like to honor Ira Kujalji. Ira will be majoring in business and finance, and tonight she will be honoring Janet Bogert, a member of the high school business department. Okay, our next honoree is Vikram Krishnaswamy. This upcoming fall, he will be majoring in economics and math. Tonight, he is honoring Stephen Dentler, a member of the high school math department. All right, our next honoree is Arib Mahmood. This upcoming fall, he will be majoring in economics. Tonight, he is honoring Glenn Ferraris, a member of Crossroads North Math Department, who taught him at Brooks Crossing. All right, our next honorees, Rajasmita Majumdar. This upcoming fall, she'll be majoring in biology. Tonight, she is honoring Courtney Kessner, a member of the high school science department. Our next honoree could not be with us tonight, but I would still like to recognize Varun Munam. This upcoming fall, he will be majoring in computer science, and tonight he would be honoring Nicholas Ghazali, a member of the high school social studies department. Our next honoree tonight is Aryan Modi. This upcoming fall, he will be majoring in biotechnology. Tonight, he is honoring Jeffrey Tulashevsky, a member of the high school science department. Our next honoree is Obik Mojumdar. This upcoming fall, he'll be majoring in computer science, and tonight he will be honoring Shamila Shisti, a member of the high school science department. Our next honoree is O'Haley Mujumdar. This upcoming fall, she will be attending college and is undecided on her major right now. Tonight, she is honoring Ramon Quinones, a member of the high school social studies department. Our next honoree is Sahil Mulkey. This upcoming fall, he will be majoring in computer science, and tonight he will be honoring Austin Maitland, a member of the high school business department who could not be with us tonight. Our next honoree is Aparna Parthasarathi. This upcoming fall, she will be majoring in political science. Tonight, she is honoring Samantha Saldana Kuncharam, a member of the high school social studies department. All right, I want to recognize a few individuals that are not here. Our next honoree will be Rohan Patel. This fall, he will be majoring in finance or economics. Tonight, he would be honoring Alexander Dingwall, a member of the high school guidance department. We also have Anna Pham. Unfortunately, she cannot be with us tonight. This upcoming fall, Anna would be majoring in business. Tonight, she will be honoring Kamika Pert, a member of the high school business department. And last but not least, Aditya Prabhakar. This upcoming fall, will be majoring in math. Tonight, he's honoring, or would be honoring, Mr. Matthew Becker, a member of the high school English department. Good. I know. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. I'm sorry.
That's the student there,
Good.
and that's the educator. I need to find where we're going, right? One minute, please. Okay. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good right now.
Teacher, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. So with that said, to conclude my presentation, I would like to now share with you a few quotations directly from the letters that were written to our staff, though I wish I could share all of them with you. Students wrote, "The compassion you show to others and your kind demeanor genuinely inspire me to be a better person. Your passion and unwavering support have truly made a difference in my high school experience. Thank you for being such a great teacher and role model. You always explained things in a way that was so easy to understand, while also being a genuinely kind and supportive person. I'm so lucky to have you this year. Your dedication to teaching has been instrumental in shaping my journey. Thank you for your encouragement and belief in my abilities. I am deeply grateful for your profound impact on my education and personal growth. Your chill and dedicated mindset changed me into someone who works hard to become proficient in their passions. Thank you for inspiring me. And finally, your contagious passion ignited my own interest, and your dedication to each student is inspiring. After being your student, I can determine that you are epic with 0% error. Faculty, our students are proud to call you their teachers and mentors and know that you make a difference each and every day. Another group that makes a difference is our parent group. I would like to honor our students' parents tonight for their hard work and support. And here are some slides recognizing all of them. So at this time, I'd like to ask parents to please stand and be recognized. We're going to do it the next one. That's all. And finally, we have a truly talented group of students who are being honored tonight. It's important to note that our honorees aren't just high achievers when it comes to PSAT. They are effective leaders, talented musicians, artists, accomplished athletes, and much, much more. Again, congratulations, commended students, their honored teachers, and their parents. As I turn the microphone back over to Mrs. Rogers, please join me in one more round of applause for them.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, students and educators. A great job, as always. On behalf of the board, we just want to say thank you to every single educator, not only here, but in the entire district. It is because of you that our students succeed. And to the parents, you should be so proud of the kids. They work very hard, and you work very hard. And supporting your students is the one thing that every teacher desires from a family, as well as this district. So thank you for everything you do to support your children. Thank you so much. Get chalked up. All right, thank you again, Peter. Our next order of business is a presentation. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we go on, if students we're going to be talking about money. You can stay and maybe learn. But I understand that many of you would probably like to head home. So we're going to take a 5-minute break and allow you to exit out the back door. And thank you again for your attendance. Thank you so much.
Are you really taking 5 minutes?
I get a little. All right, we will move on to the next order of business. Our next order of business is the presentation from, and apologies if I pronounce the names wrong, Suppley, Clooney and Company, presented by Warren Korecki, and that is the 2022-2023 financial audit. Yep. Nice job.
One person left. I was noticing all the majors. There was not one accounting major in the group, so that must tell me something. This is the presentation of the audit for the year ended June 30th, 2023. It seems like the reports are getting later and later every year because there's a lot of information that we have to get from the Department of Treasury. They have to do an audit and they have to give us audited numbers. So things are getting later and later. They used to be a lot sooner, but my hands are kind of tied with that. You should have two reports. One's the CAFR report, the annual financial report, deals with the finances, and the smaller report is the auditor's management report. Both of these reports are required by the State Department of Education. I would like to go over the smaller report. This is called the auditor's management report. When we do the audit, it's not just a financial audit, it's also a compliance audit. There's various rules and regulations in the administrative code and in Title 18A, plus what the state gives us is an audit manual. It's about 300 pages long, and there's different areas they want us to at least test check a basis as we're doing the audit. So the smaller report is around 15, 16 pages long, but this is supported by a 300-page audit manual. And the state asks us to make, comments if we do have any. There's general areas in here: financial reporting, the school student fund, cafeteria, purchasing, payroll, student transportation, the school food service area. And once again, there are no formal recommendations in this report. There's none. Everything that we tested in the manual was according to the rules and regulations. Things were up to date. Things were, current, and they were in compliance with all the rules that we had, that we did have to check. So, it's a hats off to Dave and his crew. I mean, everything we asked them, we do bother them a lot. We do ask for a lot of information, but there were no recommendations, once again, in this year's report. Okay. The bigger reports, the annual comprehensive financial report, this is the financial statements that are presented. This is in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Again, the state gives us a manual that backs this up, that we have to follow the presentation. It's quite extensive. There's not just financial information here. There's a lot of demographic information and statistical information. Sometimes it gets a little confusing going through this because there's district-wide financial statements, there's budgetary there's fund financial statements. So what I like to say is there's one statement in here that I always like to point out. It does start on page 99 and goes to page 109. It's called the budgetary comparison. It's one of the most detailed statements in the report. It gives you what you start with your budget. It gives you all the revenues that you realize by different categories. It gives you your expenditures that you have by, detail categories that were in the budget. It gives you the variances that you have. It's one of the few statements that's, very comprehensive. A lot of the statements in the front of the report are just, they're summarized, and you really can't tell too much. You don't get to tell totals. But this, the one, the C statement, and it emulates the budget that you adopted for 23. So as you're working on your, I assume, your 25 budget, this is somewhere to go. You can see how you operate it in prior years. My only problem with the report is very few schedules in here that are, they're not comparative. So I like comparative statements so you can compare back and forth. There's really nothing in here that does that, but I don't make those determinations, GAP does. And this statement also acts as a profit and loss. You did end the year with $28,881,000 of surplus. However, that's not all free and clear. When I say free and clear, it's made of different components. There's a capital reserve of $1,468,000. There's a reserve for encumbrances, $3,888,000. Encumbrances are just orders that were not completed by year end, so there's money set aside when they come in July, August, September, to pay for them. It has the surplus that you reserve that's used in the budget year right now, the 24 budgets, $8,007,000. There's excess surplus. It's $3,950,000. They say it's excess, but it's in excess of 2% of your total operating expenses. So you set that aside and it's used in the 25 budget. And then your unassigned surplus that's free and clear is $5,973,000. That's what you can use for any purposes that you need or use for, the budget year that's coming up. Okay? And that's basically it. If you have any questions on the reports that I filed, and if you don't have any, questions now, you can just go through Dave's office and get back to me. I'll answer any questions that you need in this report. I know it's a lot of information here, a lot of redundancy, but it's what's considered a CAFRA.
Are there any questions regarding the report so far on this side? Mr. Mitchell.
I have a question about the public employment, the public employees retirement. PERS, on page 114. But it's a general question. How often is that, I don't know if this is appropriate or not. How often is that funded?
Well, since it's called you're in it's a state plan. It's not an agency plan, but you're part of a group. And the state comes up with those numbers based on IROC reports that the board files with the Division of Pension, based on the salaries every year. And it's really almost like 2 years behind. By the time they get all the information, they do the actuary reports. Now, that's one of the reports that holds up the audit report every year, because the Department of Treasury has to do an audit of the Division of Pension. A report comes out, it allocates it to all the different districts, and that report is given to us, and those are where the numbers come from in this report.
So your report is dependent upon the state?
Yeah, I have to wait for those numbers. Plus, when they came out what's called GASB 68, they wanted pension numbers in the report, detailed numbers.
Right.
But since you don't really, it's not your pension, it's the state pension. So you have to wait till they have their audit before they give it to us, then we can put it into the report.
Makes sense.
And that's the problem with all the different districts. They have to allocate it by the 500
Right.
different districts.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I just have a quick question. On the smaller
Yeah.
one, page 9, which is the schedule of the enrollment. Just a quick question. When you do this, it is strictly the enrollment that is sitting in this district? It doesn't include enrollments that go to charter schools?
No, this is just from the reports that are given to us.
Okay.
It doesn't include charter schools.
No charters, okay. Any other questions? No, thank you so much. I'm going to ask that the board members, if after you are completed with both of the documents, the thicker one, if you can return it back to Dave, in case we need to give copies to someone, so he can keep them on file, you could bring them next week. Go ahead.
My statement, my kind of clearing statement on the two booklets that you received this evening. If you're not going to read it, I have people that really want one.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to spend the evening, or even if you want to spend the evening or two with it and just kind of dig through it and come up with your questions and then hand it back, that would be awesome too. But unless you're going to use it consistently, you get one every year as a board member. So if you're not going to use it consistently, I will take those back. Okay?
Any other questions? Thank you so much for coming
You know,
tonight.
if you do, we have this in PDF, so Dave, if you need a PDF, I can just forward it to you, and then you can just give it out and disseminate it that way. It's easy.
Paul gave me a PDF
Oh,
as
you
well.
did?
That's a
Okay,
good
fine.
point. So if you do need a copy of it, PDF's
great.
easier too, because you can search it.
Then you can search it.
Control
That's a
find.
good point.
Thanks,
Is
Warren.
actually, I do have a question. Do we have to get the big thick books? Is
Yeah.
that a requirement, or can we just use PDF?
You could just use PDF. I mean, we don't have to have the big, thick books, but
No, one hard copy, no,
Then one-
we don't even send hard copies to the state, it's all PDF
Okay.
to the state. A lot of boards only get 2 or 3 copies a
Yeah.
year now, that's it, one file copy, that's it, and everybody else gets a PDF. That's strictly up to you.
Can we make a recommendation to just what you need specifically, and
I'll
then
do
the
that.
board get PDF?
I'll work with the auditors to get
That'd be
that.
great. It saves some trees. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren, for all your work. We
Yes,
appreciate it.
That's a lot of work. And thank you, Dave and team, for everything you guys do, because that's a lot of work,
Yes.
especially when the auditors come in.
Hats off
So,
to the team.
yeah.
And Paul Frieda, who also works with Warren, is the actual auditor that's on site with us. And Paul kind of works as a consultant with us throughout the year. If we have questions, instead of doing and then asking for forgiveness, in our world, it's ask, and then we work together to come up with a way to get things done.
Right.
And hats off to Suppley Clooney, because they are a wonderful audit firm.
Yes.
And they've worked with us
For years.
very well
right?
for a lot of years.
Yeah, many, many years.
Yeah, very long time.
Yeah, they're a
Great
good
group.
team. Ms. Ferreira?
I just wanted to reiterate, did he say we had a surplus in our budget last year?
No, there's-
You have a budgeted surplus every year
Okay.
that you carry over from year to year.
And the amount was,
This year, it's like 5.7 million
okay,
that we'll use again next year to offset expenses.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Good. Okay, then that closes out that part of the agenda. Next is board committee and liaison reports. So we will start with the Education Committee. Any update?
Yeah, the Education Committee met on February 22nd. Present were myself, Dr. Raj, Deepa Karthik, Lisa Rogers, Dr. Memon, Suzanne Luckborn, and Rafael Morales. Mr. Fetter was under the weather, was unable to join us. So Suzanne gave us a little briefing overview on Title I and exactly what it is and what we do with those funds. And it's federal funding that we get for free and reduced lunch. You know, there's a certain percentage. So she went into that whole process of, you know, how that money is allocated. And then we also discussed, Dr. Mammon, we talked about book placement and grade level and appropriateness of curriculum and curriculum versus elective. And she went through the process that we do here in South Brunswick and how we choose books or we don't choose books, where they are placed or where they are not placed. There's this whole big process and links that you can go on. So she discussed that. And we also touched on a little bit in Crossroads South. We have a monthly inclusion day. And they had a Hajib Day and how that was celebrated. And we just discussed that a little bit. The end.
Diane, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Policy Committee, any update?
Yes,
Ms. Khan?
thank you. The policy committee met prior to this board meeting, and I'll be providing an update at the next meeting, and all the policies discussed tonight will be up for first read at the next meeting.
Great, thank you very much. Finance update, Mr. Mitchell.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. We did meet on the 27th of February. That was last Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right, and those who were in attendance were me, Mr. Nathanson, Ms. Ferrara, our board president Rogers, Mr. Pulowski, and Mr. Fetter. And we discussed 2 topics in rather great length. Initial budget meeting, discussing regarding funding and the current state of affairs. And then we also discussed revenue generators. And under that, we talked about solar, reviewed the possibility of having a solar company install canopies over certain parking lots in the district as a new revenue generator with no upfront cost to the district, which is great. Also, field sponsorship, which I mentioned to Mr. Pulowski earlier, that a lot of universities do that. And we're looking to do that here in South Brunswick. And we talked about the potential of having a sponsor pay for advertising at the high school's football field. Options included one sponsor or many that line the fencing. Also, facility rentals, looking at ways to increase revenue from facilities rental. We discussed the potential of hiring personnel to manage bookings, facility visits, invoicing, and marketing. The only way this would work is if we were able to, could be sure the position would more than pay for itself. And then finally, shared services, which is another important piece. We continue working with our township on sharing services. We are currently reviewing our health center for employment, physicals, recreation, policy services, and cleaning services. And that concludes my report.
Great. Any questions? No? Mr. Nathanson, Business Ops and Shared Services.
No, we didn't meet yet.
I'm sorry?
We haven't met.
You haven't met? Okay. Just a quick update on Advocacy Committee. We sent out an email, Mr. Fetter and I, regarding the upcoming testimonies that are going to be happening. There will be 2 Senate Budget Committee hearings and 2 Assembly Budget Committee hearings. Mr. Fetter, myself, and I think, don't quote me on this, I think 2 or 3 other people will be testifying. We want to try and manage that a little bit with the hopes that both, well, at least the Assembly sister bill to the 2% flexibility cap will be passed in Senate Ed, and we'll know more of that next week as these hearings take place. Any other questions on board committees? Liaison reports. Any updates on liaison reports? Okay, Ms. Garthik?
Did Mr. Nathanson have a question?
No, I was going to make a statement about something.
Okay.
As a liaison.
I just have a report for the high school, as I am the liaison for the high school. We had the Blacks Onyx Club celebrated the Unity Ball on February 28th. I attended, Mr. Mitchell was there, Dr. Mammon was there. It was really wonderful, very nice, very well organized, a lot of attention to detail. They had cuisines from around the world, they had a fashion show, they had a talent show. We had a lot of fun. The children had a lot of fun. I think Mr. Mitchell and Dr. Mammon will testify to that as well. It was a wonderful evening, and congratulations to all of the volunteers of the club as well as the advisors. So it was a huge success. I also attended on March 5th National Honor Society induction for the high school, which was very nice, very well organized. It's a 2-part series, so because we have so many National Honor Society students. So one was on 5th March, I think the second one was on 6th. I attended one of the days, so it was a wonderful event. So next year, whoever can attend these events should also come along with me.
You were busy.
I was.
Any other liaison updates? Mr. Nathanson?
Yeah, Mrs. Rogers, you brought up the county meeting. I did attend, and I did have a nice give and take on the Zoom meeting with Senator Gopal, and his districts got hit pretty bad too, including his home district, which is Long Branch, which pretty much got creamed. And he brought up things that I've never heard a chair of the education committee actually talk in public out loud about, finding out the details of how the formulas are actually done, how they come up with the numbers, who they give, why don't they even it out, so to speak, you know, where one district got one city got $100 million and has gotten that over the last, every year for the last 4 years, you know, it makes you question. And if you saw, I believe Mrs. Rogers sent out the article that our legislators questioned the governor regarding it, and for his answer to be, well, the districts that got money got a good amount of money. Well, that still doesn't answer why the districts that didn't get money or got less money had to do that, because if you look at what was distributed to the positive districts, it's off the charts. So it was a really good conversation. He had it with myself and several other people during the meeting. He is also looking at, on top of that, he became a sponsor on Senator Zwicker's bill to increase the cap. He is also looking with Mr. Zwicker what they did last year, where they actually came up with some kind of additional money, but he acknowledged that's a one-shot deal. And that's when I said to him, you know, the one-shot deals are great for that year, but then the following year we're already holding, the table to see what happens again. So there has to be a rhyme or reason. They're going into, the S2 is done this year. They haven't even started a committee to research what the new formula was going to be. He sounded like he was going to try to generate that out of his committee. So, because you got to start now. We got to look at it now.
Right.
So he had some really positive stuff. I know I sent the email that I got to Mrs. Rogers and Mr. Mitchell, and Mr. Mitchell went ahead and sent it out to the rest of the board. You should really take a look at it.
Yeah.
It was a really good meeting.
Yeah, I believe the video and the script of that meeting was sent out by Mr. Mitchell to the entire board.
Right.
Senator Gopal can be found at about minute 39 if you're interested in hearing and reading, because the script is attached. Thank you.
Yeah, he came in a little later.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Nathanson. Ms. Karthik.
Yes, I apologize for missing one other club that I attended in high school, which was a Temptation Club. I'm so sorry, I got mixed up with the dates. It was on February 23rd. I attended that event as well. It was a wonderful, wonderful show of music, art, culture, everything. So it was amazing. It was lengthy, but it was beautiful. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I encourage all the board members to come and see that show. It was wonderful. So please do come next year. And congratulations to all of the, the advisors and yeah, it was wonderful. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
One quick thing
Yes,
to
Mr.
add to-
Nathanson, because that's
So
Dr. Roach.
this weekend is on Saturday, early morning is a New Jersey School Board's
Oh, yes.
legislative committee meeting. I just got some additional emails. I'll send it to the
Yes.
entire board. What makes this meeting unique is that every district in the state is represented. And we always have a really good discussion, but this time there's a handful of new assembly people that are going to be attending from districts that got hit
Yes.
in a lot of the areas, so it should be an interesting meeting.
Yes, I also just want to make a comment. When the assembly bills that are going to be read for Monday should drop by tomorrow. Usually they drop, they don't really give the public much notice. So as soon as I get that information there's 6 bills that are dropping all around funding for education. Once I get those, I will forward out to the entire board.
That will also be the part of the discussion on
Yes,
Saturday,
yeah.
too.
So it'd be
And
good to attend.
Just so you know, as a formality.
Yes.
Because they've changed some of the districts, I got reappointed to the legislative committee, and I am going my 20th year
Very
on
nice.
the committee.
Congratulations, Mr. Nicholson. Dr. Ross?
Just a quick question for Mr. Nathanson. I was there in the meeting yesterday and they mentioned the stabilization aid, right? Did you catch the number? I heard 5 million, or did they?
I heard 5 million too.
You heard 5
Yeah.
million too?
Yeah,
That's the number he threw out.
yeah, we don't
But
know.
there's nothing in writing at this point. It's just a conversation.
He threw out
5 million.
5 million for
stabilization. Yeah, so
stabilization
it's
aid.
ridiculous.
Stabilization aid for those districts
That's
that,
nothing, that's garbage.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
So I thought I misheard it.
Yeah, like that'll be like 2 cents for us.
Right.
For the
So,
140
I
districts.
didn't, I felt the same way
Yeah.
as Mr. Fetter just said, and I didn't bring it up.
Yeah,
so.
I feel that it just was a number he threw out. Whether or not even that comes close to it, who knows?
No, because when Zwicker did it last year was a lot more.
Yeah,
right?
well, we
100
got
plus,
it.
right?
Yeah.
It was 100 plus.
Depends which one. There was
Right.
one for 100 million,
Right,
Right,
and there's one for 20 million.
right.
it's all over the place. So many bills that are flying around education funding, it's ridiculous. Mr. Mitchell, whew, wait, yes. Did you have an update? I'm sorry.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
The two of them were already covered.
Good.
But I will say I did attend the Black Onyx Club.
great.
I am thankful for the invitation to the Unity and Colors Ball last week. It was excellent, as Mrs. Karthik testified to. Wonderful food, and the overall vibe was just out of this world.
Good.
So congratulations to those advisors and to the students who came, and they were looking handsome and beautiful, like professionals, and they carried themselves so, proper and just like they were enjoying themselves.
That's
And
great.
that's what it's all about. So I'm looking forward to it next year. Also, the NHS induction ceremony, I was able to go Tuesday night, and it was just excellent. I've been able to go the last couple of years since we've gone back in person, and I've enjoyed it each and every time. And then last but not least, Cambridge Elementary School had their Black History Month event also last Wednesday. And I was able to view multiple student-produced projects, and they were highlighting past and present African Americans who have made an impression upon our country, from Venus Williams to, Serena Williams to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to, of course, ones we've heard for years, Harriet Tubman. So it was a great event, and it was just great to see it was only the 5th grade, I believe,
Great.
that did that project. So kudos to every student at Cambridge, and also to the parents who were there to support. These parents I've gone to events, and these parents don't fail to show up. Let me
great.
tell you, they don't. And I really appreciate them and the love they have for the children and for the support that you have, because it really makes a difference in their success. So thank you again for that, and that concludes my little report.
Very good. Thank you so much. Any other updates? That's it? Okay, moving on, closing out board comments and liaison reports. We will now move to public comments on agenda items only. The Board of Ed,
New business?
no? Don't we do
Don't
that?
have any.
No, we have that after. I have public comments and then old business, new business.
Oh, yeah.
We good?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Secretary's keeping me straight. That's okay. Oh, it's always good to double check. Okay, next is public comments on agenda items only. The Board of Education recognized the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. Complete copies of Policy 0167, which govern this portion of the meeting, are available to the public at the entrance, online, or contacting the board office. To permit the fair and orderly expression of comments, we ask that participants be recognized by the presiding officer, preface comments by announcing his or her name, place of residence, group affiliation if appropriate, and by completing the sign-in sheet. Please print legibly, or we may be unable to document your name for the permanent record. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. No participant may be no participant may speak more than once on the same topic. Mr. Polowski will indicate when you have 15 seconds remaining. All statements shall be, no participant may address or question board members. No discussion between a participant and respondent shall extend a 3-minute timeline. It is our plan to listen to each member of the public. Once all comments and questions from the members of the public are made, the Board of Ed may respond via email in the most timely and efficient manner available. All questions and comments will be noted. Mr. Pulowski, are there any registered voters for this portion of the public comments on agenda items only?
We do not have any.
Okay, very good. Phew, I'm getting tongue-tied. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment on agenda items only? Agenda items only. Okay. Please step to the podium, state your name, place of residence, please spell your name, and if you can, sign.
There's no sign-in.
Oh, there's no sign-in. All right, well, we'll get that.
Okay, it's
Just say your name very clearly and spell your name.
Lisa Garwood, Garwood. I live in Princeton Walk in Heathcote. I just have a quick question. I know you probably can't answer it now, but I'm wondering if that speech that Mr. Gopal made is available to the public, if anybody knows where someone could watch or read that.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can, we'll figure out how to share it. I'll talk to Mr. Fetter.
Okay, I can send an email with
Sure.
my email. Okay, thank you so much.
Yep. Anyone else in the public comments? No, that will close this portion of the public comments. Okay. Okay, next order of business is old business, and Mr. Fetter will now provide an update on the budget and Bill S-2434.
So I'm not giving you a full presentation tonight, just letting you know, you heard some commentary on bills that are dropping in the Senate and the Assembly. We are going to make sure, we do our best to move bills forward that, will help South Brunswick and the other 140 districts that all lost money. Just so people understand the money and why when I hear that Senator Gopal cares about even using the language of $5 million for the entire state when they just gave away $1 billion. $1 billion were just given to 425 districts. $1 billion. Not 901 million, $1 billion. Don't even say $5 million out of his mouth. That's ridiculous. And he's a supporter of ours, and that's ridiculous. I'm sorry. I don't care if I'm saying that in public. $1 billion was given to 425 districts, and $100 million was taken away from 140 districts. That's the $900 million net. They gave away $1 billion. So, these conversations are insane to me. And I'm sorry, we can all pretend that these governing bodies care. Show me one of them that does. I'm sorry. This is nonsense. So, while we sit and look at how we're going to cut, 50, 60, 70 people, Newark can take its $400 million they received over the last 4 years. Not $100 million, $400 million. And hire everyone that we have to let go. That's what it's going to look like. So $5 million was said out of his mouth? $5 million. Really? What's that going to do? Take away $100 million to then give back 5%, while you gave away, in the last 2 years, $1.9 billion to the same districts, while you took away $240 million from the rest. Sorry, don't really care, all this nonsense. We'll go and testify to a bunch of senators and assembly people that probably don't care too much because they got their 425 happy districts, they got their votes, congratulations, and the rest of the kids, oh well, they just happen to live in the wrong zip code. So I just don't have any more patience for nonsense hearing that stuff. I'm sorry. It's not very professional of me, and I get that, but have the senators come over here and tell the 60 people they're going to fire from South Brunswick, and I don't know how many from the other districts, that they want to give us 5% back of what they took. Wonderful. That's my update.
I have to agree with 100%. I feel also that in Governor Murphy's speech, that he fully funded education, he has deceived the public, period. He may have funded SFRA, but the public that is not involved in this has a perception that education is now fully funded in every single district. It's the spin on words. That's my personal opinion, and that will be stated at the Senate and Assembly Education and Budget Committee hearings, that that's a deceitful way to present to the public, because you think, oh, every district got money. So I'm in 100% agreement with Mr. Fetter, and this passion that he has, myself and others, will also be coming out at the Senate and Assembly Ed Committee. What happens with that? Who knows? I'm hoping that maybe he misspoke and he meant to say 500 million, but I don't think so. Anybody else have any comments on the old business? Ms. Karthik, probably would say.
There was no question when he said $5 million. Like, was everybody like stunned?
I was not able to attend, so I'll defer to Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Nathanson.
The only thing is.
Oh, and Dr. Raj, sorry.
I didn't say anything because I did think what you just said, that he really meant 500 million, because 5 million, that's, I would have turned around and said, you know what, you can keep it. It doesn't do us any good.
That's one district should be getting that.
Right.
It doesn't cover half of what they took from his own district.
Right.
Right.
It doesn't cover half.
Sorry, 5 million is to be divided
To 100, yeah, 140.
100 million.
Can you say that again, please?
No.
No, because, I want to make sure that the public
5% of 100
understands.
million. 5 million is 5% of 100 million. Let's hope he meant something else, but you know what? When you do this to districts for 6 straight years, you better have your numbers straight before you say
That's
them
right.
out loud.
Yeah. As a senator, he should not be misspeaking about this. I agree. It's too sensitive a subject to misspeak, but I'm hoping maybe he did. I don't know. But it's all, hope is not a business plan.
There is no bill on anywhere in either Senate or Assembly that talks about what he did.
We don't know yet. And I say that
No,
only.
there isn't anything written yet. So.
Well, I don't know what the Assembly is going to come out with, so let's wait to see what bills are dropped, and then
Right.
we'll see what that's about.
Correct.
Anything else? Yes, Dr. Raj.
Actually believe my ears when the 5 million number popped up. That is the reason why I asked, because that is a ridiculous number to me. I thought that I misheard it. That is not a number that's believable enough. So I needed others to validate what I heard.
Well, maybe we could send a note to his chief of staff and say, can you clarify, did he mean 5 million or 500 million? But we'll take that off record, off the table for now. That's to be discussed beyond
I
this.
also agree with President Rogers' personal opinion. I share your opinion that, public were deceived. Full funding doesn't really mean that our children's education is being taken care of. No, it is not.
Right.
It is just a play on words, and we were deceived. Even I thought that fully funded public schools meant every child in the state would be would be treated equally, but that is not really the case.
And there's quite a lot of news coverage on it right now. There's a lot of articles, so all you got to do is just type in New Jersey Education SFRA, and you'll see quite a few of comments coming from the media. I believe it was also on CBS after his speech, I believe. Yeah, so there's getting some good coverage. All right, very good. Well, that closes out old business. Next order of new business, we see none at this time, so we will close that out. Next is the consent agenda review and walkthrough. Mr. Pawlowski, please.
We have a pretty succinct consent agenda this evening. 1.1 through 1.3 are standard operating procedure for the business office. We have a bills list, Chapter 192, 193, revised allocations. We have some non-public technology orders. We have on 1.4 an approval of an educational consulting services for our ELL program. Approving 1.5 is approving a per pupil tuition costs for South Brunswick. We have 1.6, the approval of our audit report for 2023 that we heard this evening. 1.7, we have an interlocal services agreement with the South Brunswick Township with the Board of Education for our SRO program for the current year. We're approving a uniform state of memorandum of agreement between educational law enforcement officials and the state, or excuse me, South Brunswick Township Schools Board of Education. And then we have our travel. We're also looking at professional development, student field trips, harassment, intimidation, bullying reports, and we have a maintenance agreement with the South Brunswick School Maintenance Association and the Board of Education. We're approving for the July 1, 2022, all the way through June 30 of 2027. And then you have your personnel report. And that's your consent agenda this evening.
Any questions for Mr. Pawlowski before we take roll call? Ms. Ferrera?
The maintenance agreement, is it backdated? Or did they solve their issues with the union and they have a contract?
They solved their issue. Everybody came together, negotiated a contract, and it took a little bit longer than expected.
Okay, so it's back from.
It's signed.
They were without contracts since 2022.
They were working under previous contract, and they'll get paid retro.
Okay, thanks.
Very good. Any other questions? Ms. Karthik? I'm coming.
Mr. Pawlowski, on page number 6 of the backup of the consent agenda, there is a line item in the financials which is
Can you just say it again? Sorry.
the backup consent agenda. On page number 6 in the financials, there is a line item that says South Brunswick Board of Ed. The description is prescription plan, and it's a $2 million amount. If you could please provide clarification on that, that would be helpful.
So the South Brunswick Township School District pays approximately $6 million a year for prescription insurance, and that's our prescription plan that we have for employees. And as the purchase order dwindles down, we replenish it with transfers to that purchase order. So that's a payment to a purchase order that will last us another 2 or 3 months, and then we'll have to make another transfer again.
Got
So
it.
we're
Okay.
feeding the purchase order to make the payment to the insurance company.
Understood. Thank you.
Ms. Ferrera?
The line item for consulting services for ELL, is that for all schools?
Yes, it's a district consult.
So do we know the name of the company that is,
Yep, it's in the motion.
okay, thank you.
It's Up the Bar Consulting and Lift As We Climb Consulting. Lift As We Climb is providing consulting services for the EL program in 3 elementary schools. And Up the Bar Consulting LLC is providing a comprehensive ESL audit.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Any other questions this way? And this way. Questions, Dr. Raj?
I have a question, I have a comment. I would like to highlight to the public, people who are watching, listening to us, that this consent agenda also has per pupil tuition costs. It's a very important data point. We see a lot of garbage on social media and things about how expensive, how wasteful the district is and things like that. Per pupil tuition cost gives us it's a good data to have and to compare with other districts and how our district is placed. So I urge the public to take note of it and not fall for misinformation online.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. I need a motion to.
Yeah, yes, I could do that,
I
but
caught
it's
it.
not a motion in a
I heard
second.
Mr. Mitchell caught me. May I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda? Ms. Karthik, Mr. Nathanson, first and second. May I have a roll call, Mr. Wojcicki? Thank you.
Yes, you may. Miss Julie Ferrara,
Accept.
Miss Laura Hernandez,
Yes.
Mrs. Deepa Karthik, Miss Alicia Khan,
Yes.
Mr. Raja Krishna,
Yes.
Mr. Mike Mitchell. Yes. Mr. Barry Nathanson,
Yes.
Dr. Smitha Raj. Yes. Mrs. Lisa Rogers.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Okay. We are now moving on to the second opportunity for the public to comment. This is the second opportunity for the public to comment on any matter. You are reminded of the previous statement made regarding public comment rules of Policy 0167. Again, at the podium, state your name, spell your name, announce your place of residence and/or your group affiliation. I would ask you to complete the sign-in sheet, but I do know what happened. It was taken by mistake when Mr. Varela was finished up, so I do apologize for that. I saw it go. You are limited to 3 minutes. Do we have any members of the public who pre-registered for the second public comments?
We do not have any pre-registrations.
All right. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak?
We have one there.
Okay, sorry about that. Please state your name, spell your name clearly so we can hear you, announce your place of residence and any group affiliation. Thank you.
My name is Victoria Barone, B-A-R-O-N-E, and I live in the Summerfield development on Georges Road in Dayton. A board member speaking as a private citizen has publicly expressed an opinion that I feel is really detrimental to our children. This was during the Senate hearing discussing a change to Bill S-1188, also known as the Keystone Law. The change being discussed was to lower the age in which a teen can seek mental health outpatient services from 16 to 14. Ms. Ferrara gave testimony opposing the change. She cited multiple issues she feels. That same evening, at our board meeting, which I also attended right here, she said she had went to this hearing, but she wasn't sure what it was about. It is concerning that she spoke very strongly. She stated some very outdated and inaccurate information about a bill. She then came here and stated she wasn't sure she knew the purpose of, but might be concerned about funding it. The bill requires no funding, so I'm not really sure what she is talking about. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Thank
comment.
you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment? Yes.
Still Lisa Garwood, still Heathcote, Princeton Walk, Garwood. Ms. Ferrara, as a private citizen, has spoken publicly against supporting the LGBTQIA population in the past. 2 weeks ago, she did so again at the S1188 Keystone Law hearing. As she now holds a leadership position in public education, her opinions directly affect our youth. According to the Anti-Defamation League and the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, quote, the current usage of the word transgenderism arises from anti-trans extremists who seek to delegitimize and dehumanize trans people by implying that being trans is an ideology rather than an identity. This is a word that she used quite a few times. Transgender is no longer a mental health diagnosis because mental health has advanced. Your statement reeked of transphobia. Your comments about DIFAS and Child Protective Services show ignorance of their function. Your rant speaks of mental health professionals saving your family, then accuses them of trying to turn our youth into trans people and pushing them into the medical industry. You want our, quote, sinister forces from above to seek opinions from our for-profit insurance companies. I repeat, for-profit insurance companies, even though the bill explicitly states that it excludes the use or administration of medication. This is contradictory, delusional, and paranoid. According to the CDC, between 2019 and 2021, the percentage of ninth graders, that is 14-year-olds, that seriously considered suicide rose from 23.7 to 30.7%. The percentage that actually attempted suicide rose from 12.8 to 15.8%. As of 2020, suicide is the second leading cause of death for those ages 10 to 14, and the numbers keep rising. When children are comfortable speaking with those at home, it's the first place they go for support. When they aren't, for whatever reason, they seek help wherever it's available. You would leave them stranded with a plethora of unhealthy options for dealing with their pain. but the best option unavailable to them.
You have 15
This-
seconds.
This is not a power struggle. It is the mental health version of the seatbelt law. Learn facts and think things through before you speak publicly. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments from the public?
Oh, boy. I know.
Hello, Albert Lipovsky, North Brunswick, New Jersey. That's Lipovsky. I have two items I wish to address. First is the business with the budget. I was fascinated when I looked at Asbury Parks getting a big reduction. Think about that. And that's a poorer district. How does that make any sense whatsoever? And obviously, they're a redeveloping city. Things are getting better. So somehow they're getting punished for that. So looking into whatever this crazy formula is really something that needs to be made public. I know that it's not something that they're allowed to release the exact criteria they're using, but that makes no sense whatsoever. And, it's affecting these districts. It's terrible. My second comment is just about what we just heard about Ms. Ferrara. There are many studies on both sides of this issue. I suggest that some folks look at the long-term Swedish study and the recent study released from Finland, which both contradict the general assumptions that are made. I'm not going to go into the details of those studies, but I suggest anybody who wants to read them. Both studies are long-term studies. Sweden has addressed this since 1996. They have a long-term history, and they have changed their opinion in those Nordic countries of how this issue is dealt with. We're at the beginning of this, we're in the middle, and I think those long-term studies should be considered before we proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to make a clarifying statement, and I may have misunderstood you. You said that we won't release the formula. It's not the board. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't sure if I heard correctly, so I just wanted to clarify for the public. Thank you for your comments. All right. Any other comments in the audience? Seeing none, we shall move on. And I think I made a boo-boo here. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Moving on to adjournment. Please note that the next scheduled Board of Ed meeting is set for Thursday, April 11th, 2024. May I have a motion and a second to adjourn this evening's meeting? Ms. Ferreira, Dr. Raj, second. All in favor? Aye. The South Brunswick Board of Education meeting is now hereby adjourned. It's 8:35.